We're ready to throw down this podcast, and it is going to be lit in a negative way.
Well, guys, what was supposed to be a get-right game was, as you said, a dumpster fire. An embarrassing loss at home to the 2-win Washington Redskins.
How does this happen?
How does it happen? How does this season happen?
Kelly, what's the answer?
Well,
Just
hopefully
give us something.
you guys have the answer because you're the ones that played in the NFL for a combined 23 seasons. Kevin Donnelley, 13 seasons on the offensive line, also a former Panther. Both these guys, Al Wallace, 10 seasons on the defensive line. This is the Carolina line. Let's start with the offensive line.
So I want to phrase like this, okay? Al and I have played. We've been there.
Yeah.
We've been a part of it. You're someone that reports on it. You've been doing it here in town for 18 years, 19
Forever.
years. You
25,
know football,
30 years.
but you were probably at a loss for words when the game was
Yeah.
over. So what's the first question? It's like, what happened to this team? Where did it go wrong? And you started with O-line. Is that where you want to start?
I think we should start
Let's
with the
start
O-line.
on the offense with the offensive line.
There's a
Let's
lot.
do it. You give up 7 sacks. There was a lot of pressure all day long. Obviously, it wasn't just at different moments they got a lucky sack and whatever. I mean, they were drive killers because this team cannot get out of the hole once it's third and long, 3rd and 10 or longer. And then with the run blocking, just no movement whatsoever. And it's the most clear and evident when you get to the goal line. I think I said it last week when this team was trying to punch one in, or in the weeks prior. It's been an issue all season long near that goal line because that is no one can hide down there. You either beat your man or you don't, and the play's unsuccessful.
For me, I look at the tempo. I look at the foundation, the identity of a football team. And when I think about really good football teams, good rushing football teams, it's a dirty offensive line, man. It's an offensive line that are moving bodies off the line of scrimmage, knocking people back, setting the tempo for the game. It is not happening. And I think you're right, Kevin. It gets exposed down on the goal line or in short yardage situations because there's no way around it.
Yeah.
You got to let the boys drop down there. And it's just about me wanting it more than you want it. In that short space, that compact area, and you watch it, and Kelly, you said it, get right game. Everybody now knows they can get right against the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, it ended up being a get-right game for Washington Redskins.
They turn on the film and they're saying, I can beat this guy. This guy is soft. We saw Takk McKinley. I don't know if you guys saw it a couple weeks ago. Just made some remarks about Darrell Williams.
On Twitter, yeah.
That couldn't fly. I know they got to face those guys again here, but for me, the way I grew up, football is going to go out of the window and it's going to be a street fight. I'm going to do it within the lines. That's who I am. But there's also something deep down inside of me that fight and that pride needs to well up. And I want to see that from the Carolina Panthers, from the offensive line. This is the Carolina line, so it's about O-line and D-line. And what I'm seeing is a group of nice guys. And we talked about the practices and how they develop that mean streak. Just being pissed off and going out there and taking some pride to open up holes for one of the best running backs in the history of our game. I'm going to say that right now. This guy is special. Christian McCaffrey is a special running back, and to not take pride and to not realize that window for those 5 guys could close quickly and they're going to find replacements because he's special. They're not going to let that talent go to waste. That offensive line, it's just disrespectful the way the people treat them now. Look, this younger generation, you can do whatever you want to. You can dance, you can do all that stuff. I was about business. I wanted to play football. I was undrafted, overlooked. I played behind 2 studs in Mike Rucker and Julius Peppers. I had something to prove for 60 minutes, 16 weeks in the season. I needed to have it, and no one was going to deter me for that. I didn't want to take pictures. It wasn't about that life. I just wanted to play football. So I'm not saying everybody has to be like that.
But don't you feel like some of these guys are playing for likes instead of wins? They're playing for likes instead of wins.
That's right. They're a part of something.
Where can we get the screen, the nice picture in the end zone, a celebratory dance, or some crazy pose you got to give after an interception or a touchdown or a sack or whatever it is. It's just, because I've seen them. Like, I've been a reporter on the sideline. I've been in the locker room at halftime. I think it's every team in the nation. It's not just the Panthers.
Yeah, it's not the Panthers.
But when we were playing, phones were part of the locker
Social
room,
media.
but not like it is now.
It didn't exist.
I mean, the iPhone wasn't created in 2005, right? That was when it was created, I think, and I retired in 2003. So
There you go.
But it was about playing some music and brotherhood and bonding, getting to know guys around you, having fun, having jokes, and bonding. I mean, I go in there, it's dead quiet. Everyone's on their phone right before practice. It's quiet before games. That's one thing I miss about Cam.
He'd
bring music
and
energy. He'd come in no matter how he was going to play that day. That's the one thing you could count on was Cam coming in there, and whether guys liked it or not, it got things stirred up, and it got them ready to play, and it got people's game faces on, because you feel like there's this leader in the locker room that he's got no fear. He's going to go out there. We know his toughness. He's had highs and lows over the last couple of years because of injuries, but
toughness
while
has never
I'm
been
on
questioned.
this, no, that's not been questioned. And while I'm on this, it's just, that's I think what Al was saying with some of the passion on the O-line and getting your job done. I think, Al, you could say the exact same thing with the defensive line, and what, in terms of their performance yesterday. Just, you didn't see anybody. Like, the sacks didn't have a huge impact on the game when they happened. I don't want to discount sacks. We got 5 of them.
Right.
But it's like when he needed some extra time, that young quarterback found it and found a way to scramble or buy time in the pocket. And he didn't throw a ton of passes, but the ones he had were effective. He didn't have turnovers. He didn't have fumbled snaps.
And when the ball did hit the ground, the Panthers didn't recover it.
3 times.
Whether it bounced their way or not.
Right.
Right.
And you at least like to get one of them.
Yeah. I think a lot of people watching the game saw the first 2 possessions for the Panthers, and they're like, oh, I remember this game is going to be a blowout, and then all of a sudden, it just, like, what happened? What did Washington do, or what did the Panthers not do after that?
To me, I think a lot of it is maybe the team just relaxed and took its foot off the gas a little bit, and it could be a subtle thing. They made some adjustments, and I don't think we made adjustments on the other side to get some things. It felt like we kept running offensively. We kept running towards the middle, and I'm like, give me a little bit of misdirection, or maybe just a quick outlet pass to Christian and say, go get the edge, go get 5 yards. If you get more, put him in space. And really, basically, it was try and run Christian inside and find Christian on the check down plays when he couldn't find someone downfield. And that, Christian still reeled off 130 yards total yards in the game, which 25 yards off his average. It's still a solid game from him. That's why, to me, he's still an MVP candidate, because what he's meant for this team. Without him, I don't even know where we'd be.
Yeah.
But it's, talking about how does that flip like that. And it's such a game of momentum. I think, they took the foot off the gas a little bit, and then when that interception happened, just everything changed.
Yeah.
Because we went from stopping them in the red zone and forcing them to do field goals to suddenly we set them up on the 1 yard line for a touchdown. It was 14-12. They almost had a chance to tie it at halftime. It was tough. And after that, I didn't know if they were going to be able to regroup. You got to have a lot of veteran guys that get nasty and pissed off to get everyone fired back up to play some football. And you didn't see it from the bench area even.
You just go out there and you continue to play. You don't look down, the field on the other bench right there, the offensive line. You just go out there and do your job, and you look up and you trust that your brothers on the other side of the field are going to do those. So, but it does wear you down because you're exhausted. It's about the snaps and the plays and keeping those 300-pounders off of you. You just come off and you run back on sudden change. It's difficult.
There's so many factors that go into it, so you can't put it on one guy or one situation. Just to me, kind of going on what Al said, it is a team game, and it feels like there's not a lot of trust between any of these groups. And so that
Groups
gives
as an offense, defense,
special teams.
Right.
Because they've all had moments in games or throughout the season that they've consistently shown, teams can, if they want to, run 200 yards against us. We can sack Kyle Allen 5, 6, 7 times if we focus in on that's what we want to do. And in the past, I would say, like the 2003 team, I'd say the defense carried that team. We could always count on them every week to show up. The offense just had to get enough points to score, and sometimes we just did by the little tiny hair on our chin,
cats.
right? I was cardiac cats for sure. But we were always in that situation because our defense was so good.
Right.
And, you see that a lot of teams, New Orleans rode that for a while with their offense being so amazing. Now it's kind of flipping the other way, where it's the offense is good, but it's that defense. I mean, they're great at getting after the quarterback and stopping the run. So I feel like there's a trust issue there now with these guys that in the past, if you have a bunch of games together, we've seen up to this point 12 games, and there's certain situations where, like, I know our defense is going to bail us out. Offense can't say that. I know Joey Sly is going to hit this field goal to win this game. I don't know. He's missed a bunch lately, right? Or the offense, you know what? All we need is first and goal on the 5. We got this game. No, we don't.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
That filters into the team in a bigger way that it's once that kind of cascades and gets that thing rolling and gets a little life of its own. We're at the point we're at now. We're 5-7, basically out of the playoffs, and so you feel like if any one phase lets you down, it's going to be a loss.
I think that defensive line that I played on in the early 2000s, we were so good because they gave us everything in practice, and I know they were good because we sure enough were going to go after them in practice. And you can still be a
defensive line that you played on. That was Buck, Jenkins, Rucker, Peppers,
Burton, Kendall Moorhead, Kent
Moorhead.
Rasmussen.
Me and Buck used to get in fights all the time.
Yeah, Buck wants trouble. Like he's just gonna be talking trash.
Do you think Kyle Allen's talking trash to the DBs in practice like Cam used to?
No.
Or Jake, because Jake would do the same thing to Minner and.
I mean, you remember the Super Bowl?
He was
Terry
talking,
Cousins, talk trash to Rodney Harrison.
That was the best.
I mean, just called him out.
Never back down. Not
Never.
1 second of his career.
No.
And that's why his name is on that stadium.
Yeah, he's Hall of Honor because it was more than the physical talent. It was everything that he brought to the game. And that's what this team's missing. That's what's been tough about some of these losses is the last 2 at home, embarrassing losses against teams with, a 2-win Atlanta team when they rolled in, a 2-win Redskin team when they rolled in, and not only beat us, but just beat us bad.
I don't play, but we sit up in the booth and we watch the fans pile out of the Bank of America Stadium, and it hurts, man. You're turning your back. You literally have to turn your back and walk up the stands away from the players while they're still out there, giving blood, sweat, and tears out there, putting effort on the field. So,
but if they don't even show up, like Kevin said, that's what I was saying.
Well, that's what I'm a little worried about because it's
being booed at home.
We're at a bad place in that stadium. They're not showing up for the beginning of the game, and they're pouring out of there as soon as things go south.
Well, and some of the last home games we've had, say the Titans, Falcons, Redskins, the crowds keep getting less and less every week, and with Seattle, I could still see that being a good game to come to. But if we lose again to Atlanta this week, who knows how many will show up. And then that last game against New Orleans might be for nothing anyway, almost like last year's game where they're already seated where they're going to be, and it's meaningless, and it's just people are going to see a bunch of backups out there like it's a preseason game. Why would they come to that? And I think that's the bigger thing that Mr. Tepper's got to worry about is how this whole thing fits together because. Despite what you think of Cam brought people to the stands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They never knew what he was going to bring to a game. Is it the flip touchdown versus the Texans? Is it the diving first down? Is it the goal line leap, stretch out, slam it off someone's head? Touchdown.
Is it a dance in someone's face to piss them off and start a fight?
Even that though.
It's just his demeanor and the way he carries himself.
You bring your kid and you put him on the rail and you hope that they're going to get a ball. I mean look, what Cam brought was a culture.
Yeah.
It was a culture. Look, I played with Steve and great guys that are on that stadium. We talked about it, but no one brought the type of excitement that Cam Newton brought to this stadium. You tuned in. You knew Steve. And you knew he was great in the Carolina Panthers and played the Patriots in Super Bowl 38. You tuned in to see what Cam Newton was going to do. I did. A former player, not in his generation, didn't like everything that he was doing. Who cares about how he dresses versus how I dress? I tuned in to watch him because he was different. He was unique.